What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get the notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button, so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends, and inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to speak on MSDNC again. We have to speak about them again. As I reported earlier, that news station is in complete shambles. MSNBC, which is really MSDNC, they are in complete shambles right now, doing all type of mental gymnastics over the fact that Donald Trump has closed the gap in polling, and Kamala Harris and him are pretty much tied, not due to margin of errors, but very much so tied 48-48 in the national polling. And a lot of these polls that are coming out, once again, they're trying to come up with all type of excuses and just some sort of an understanding for why and how that this is, so that they can dupe their own followers of MSDNC into believing that things aren't as bad for them as they believe that they are. But right here and now, what we're going to see, as early voting has begun in Arizona, MSNBC is on the ground, and at these early voting stations, they can't find a Kamala Harris voter in sight. And I mean that quite literally. Let's get into this right here.
I should note, we did not find a single person who audibly would tell us that they voted for Kamala Harris. These were Trump supporters getting out to vote early in the all-important Mojave County. Take a listen to some of our conversations.
Well, the difference is going to be that everybody's coming out early, and everybody that we talked to has made a special effort this year to vote, and you can see it here in the parking lot. You know, this library's usually got 5 cars in it. A ton of cars in it now.
Said you voted early for the first time.
For the first time.
Why did you vote early this year?
Honestly, because Donald Trump told me to.
What a good answer.
He keeps saying it, and I've been thinking about it, and so here I am.
There's no better answer than that, right? Because Donald Trump told me to.
We met one man who did not vote in 2020, but he said he was horrified by the state of the country, so he is voting here in 2024. We met 3 other voters, one that moved from California, one that moved from Oregon, blue states, who said that they moved here and were eager to vote in a state where Donald difference. And so it's those types of voters that not only Republicans are watching come to the polls, but also Democrats have a close eye, understanding that they need to really win the Maricopa County area to make up for any potential juicing of turnout here among the MAGA faithful in places like Mojave County, Jose.
Don't let language like that go over your head when they say some kind of juicing of turnout, as if they're trying to, insinuate foul play. I notice things like that, and I don't let that kind of stuff go over my head. But that's besides the point for the moment. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, at Trump's rallies, he has been making it a point to tell everyone, get out and vote early, get out and vote early. And he's been strongly suggesting and promoting to do mail-in ballots as well, if you need to do it, if you absolutely need to do it. Obviously, the preference is early voting over mail-in ballots, but we all saw how critical mail-in ballots were, as they were just coming, out of nowhere on behalf of Joe Biden, and how, mail-in ballots really was a difference maker in places like Pennsylvania, right? But once again, as I stated earlier, the preference is to go vote early, which is what you're seeing here. Now, as it pertains to mail-in ballots and early voting, I discussed this in a prior video a few days ago, so I'm not going to go through the article right now, but I will just pull up the headline for you so you see that I'm not making this stuff up. But as it pertains to early voting as well as mail-in ballot requests, these are the coveted methods of voting that really, once again, gave Joe Biden the election in 2020. Early voting is down significantly compared to 2020. And the data holds bad news for Democrats, as you can see in this article here. Now, if I were to go through it and read it as I did once before, you would also see that it's not just early voting that's down, but mail-in ballot requests are down too. Mail-in ballot requests are down significantly from 2020, particularly in the coveted swing states that Kamala Harris needs to win. And that spells disaster for her, given the fact that I will pull this up here concerning Pennsylvania, because as everyone is saying, essentially whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the election. Like I said, I won't go through the whole article, but this is actually very important concerning Pennsylvania. And it reads as such: Joe Biden carried Pennsylvania because he built up a 1.4 million vote advantage with absentee voters, just enough to let him survive Donald Trump's 1.3 million vote lead with election day balloters, right? See, this is why Trump said, get out and vote early. And if you have to vote by mail, please do it and just get it done early. But as you can see here, and I will zoom in, it clearly shows Donald Trump's ground game is impeccable, but it was the absentee ballots that brought Joe Biden over the finish line. It's looking like this time around, that is not going to be the case for Kamala Harris as it pertains to mail-in ballots and early voting. Once again, that spells a disaster for her. And another thing as well that I covered in the video I uploaded about 2 hours ago, if you check out the trajectory of independent voters, right? Those who classify themselves as independent make up 43% of voters, right? 43% of voters actively identify as independents, and Democrats and Republicans are tied 27 and 27, right? As it pertains to those who identify as Democrats and Republican. But here's where Republicans break away. Of independents, of those who identify as independents, when you ask them what are their political leanings, do they lean more towards Republicans or Democrats, even though you're an independent, 45% of independents say they lean towards Republicans versus 43% who leans towards Democrat. Once again, in between this concerning independent voters, and now looking at the ground game of Donald Trump as it pertains to him being able to energize his base to get out and vote early. As you can see, the woman said she never voted early before, but why is she voting early this year? Because Donald Trump told me to. You see that this is working. MSNBC couldn't find a Kamala Harris voter in sight in Arizona. And once again, as I keep stating over and over again in this video, this truly does spell disaster for Kamala Harris if things keep trending in the direction that they currently are going. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also don't forget to follow me on Telegram and Rumble. That is extremely important that you do that. Please follow me on Telegram and Rumble at TD Media Group. Both my links to Telegram and Rumble will be in the description box below, as well as pinned in the comment section as well. And thank you all for your time. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.